So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round number 2 of coverage here from the Regional Pro Tour Qualifier from Dicer in London. My name's John Partridge. I'm joined by Shay Holland for complete coverage of today's event. Well, it's 8 rounds, it's 7 of Swiss and then 4 finals, effectively.
Essentially, yeah.
104 players, it's a top 4 cut to get an invite for the Pro Tour. So, round number 2 of Modern Action, we have, on one side, who will eventually be on the right of your screen, we have Shane Dowes on Affinity.
Yes.
Cranial Plating, Outbound Ravager. Basically playing robots is the other way of referring
Pretty
to
much,
it.
yeah.
On the other side here we have Charlie Lewis on. Well,
Grishoalbrand.
we put Amulet Bloom on camera. We thought we'll try and get some interactive decks, and someone picked Grishoalbrand out of the hat. So putting cheating Grishoalbrand into play with either Through the Breach or with Goryo's Vengeance, and trying to then kill you with land drops, eventually putting Borg Remus into play. But we've got a deck list in front of us this time round. We're ready to go. We'll send it down to the feature match area for round number 2 of coverage here from the Dark Sphere in London. So, how do we feel about this matchup to start with?
So, for Charlie, sort of, I don't know, usually game 1, neither of the Affinity's not really doing much to stop them. You know, they don't really have any interaction, they don't have counter magic. Most of the time, they don't have counter magic, they don't have thought seizes, inquisitions, anything like that. So, Charlie obviously is looking to just get to the point where he can, essentially, just sit there and go, reanimate Grishoalbrand, hit you for 7, draw 7 cards, hit you for gain 11 life, hit you for 7, etc, etc, you know, combo and kill. Shane obviously is trying to do something quite similar. He's trying to basically get to a point where he has enough creatures that he can just attack, 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 attack. If Shane can get Charlie low enough, it makes it very hard for Charlie to combo off.
Yeah. Because it requires a lot of life total. Grishoalbrand, obviously, for those who might not be necessarily modern aficionados or legacy aficionados, Grishoalbrand, 4 black, 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 black. 7/7 flying lifelink. You pay 7, draw 7 cards, and that's the crucial wording on that list. Is it says pay 7, draw 7, and we see very quick mulligans for both players. Obviously, not very happy with their opening hands. Grishoalbrand mulligans, I would say, a reasonable amount of the time. Even though it has things like Night's Whisper, Tormenting Voice, Faithless Loot, and Try and Draw, it still needs it needs a couple of pieces to obviously go off. It needs something to put it in the graveyard.
In theory, Grishoalbrand needs 5 cards. Land, Faithless Looting, Grishoalbrand, and Goryo's Vengeance. In an sort of a matchup where there is no interaction, that's a perfect 5 for that deck. They can go turn 1, Faithless Looting, draw who cares what, put a Grishoalbrand and something random into play, turn 2, land, Goryo's Vengeance, start comboing off.
So
this was a deck that I believe was first pioneered by Fireball Pantheon, I believe it was.
Grishoalbrand deck.
Grishoalbrand.
I'm not. I
think
can't remember.
the first.
It appeared at a GP.
It was in I saw it in Copenhagen.
Yeah. It appeared in. I think it appeared in an American.
There was there was a GP before that, but I can't remember the name of it.
It didn't do. It came. It wasn't in the top. Was it? I think it might have top eight.
I think it.
And it just exploded onto the scene from there.
There was.
And it's now been obviously tuned from there.
Of course, yeah.
One of the things with the GPs is sometimes people just bring some very, very interesting decks, and sometimes they're terrible. But sometimes, like the Grishoalbrand deck, they just take off. And we saw Kaim Patel win the Birmingham WMCQ with Grishoalbrand, beating the Naya Burn deck in the final. And obviously, to go through that many rounds with this sort of deck is really, really, really powerful. So, players will have a look at their hands of 6. We see Borg Remus, we see Night's Whisper, we see Desperate Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, and Through the Breach. So Goryo's Vengeance already in hand. He doesn't have the piece he wants, but obviously depends on who's the player in the draw. Can make a big difference as to how we go from there. So we see Affinity on the draw, and we see a Blood Crypt to start with for Grishoalbrand. So
So
they both forgot. I think what they're trying to say there is they forgot the scry rule, because obviously when you start with less than your opening number of hands, you get a scry 1 before the game, and I think they both forgot. But so we see in a typical Affinity start of let's unload my cards onto the table: Ornithopter, Volt Scourge, Blinkmoth Nexus, and the Springleaf Drum. With only 2 cards in hand, that's how quick the hand goes. But it doesn't.
Charlie hasn't drawn a second land, but he has a Night's Whisper and a Simian Spirit Guide, so we might look at him firing off a Night's Whisper here.
Yeah, and I like that, drawing some cards, trying to find your second land drop. The Simian Spirit Guide, you have 4 in the deck for a reason. You do need them to actually, normally you need them to combo, sometimes you don't, depending on how you go with it. But I think, because he's missed it, he probably has to go for it, just to try and draw some cards, because otherwise he's just going to fall too far behind.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he's going to exile the Simian Spirit Guide, make a red mana, tap 1, pay 2 life, draw 2 cards. That's easy. A slightly different art to the one we've normally seen, so I had to actually do a double check that was Night's Whisper. But draw 2, lose 2.
Oh, and he didn't draw a second land, which is not where he wants to be.
But he does seem to have picked up another copy of Night's Whisper. But again, he needs a land, and we see.
Oh, Cranial Plating.
Ooh. So we do see the quick start for Affinity.
Yep.
And Cranial Plating.
Attacking for 5 here, I believe, which is. You know, this is what I was talking about. You know, if Affinity gets this sort of quick start, especially when it's a Cranial Plating on a Volt Scourge,
it's a lot of life as well.
That's a lot of life.
And and Grishoalbrand is a life. It is a finite life.
It is a second Cranial Plating. Wow.
That is a top deck and a half. And we see Charlie on no lands. He's going to activate up the Blinkmoth Nexus, and that's
actually 15 damage, because that's 7 artifacts.
I believe that was turn 3.
That was turn 3.
On the draw.
Yeah. Wow.
That was
pretty
quick.
explosive. Yeah.
That was a quick one. Obviously Cranial Plating. I did pull it up to try and explain what it does, but it ends games. Is the best way to describe it. So it's a artifact that costs 2 mana. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. Black. Attach Cranial Plating to target creature you control, and that can be done at instant speed as well. The black is an ability to do it at instant speed, and that is really powerful. And then it equips for simply 1 mana. So players will have a quick look at the sideboard. So will we. So we'll start with the Affinity deck. So Affinity deck has 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Gyroport Ether Grid, a Wear Tear, 3 Ancient Grudge, 2 Whip Flare, an Aethersworn Canonist, 1 Dismember, a Stubborn Denial, a Thoughtseize, a Master of Ethereum, and 2 Spell Skies. And the one that stands out to me is the Grafdigger's Cage. It means that the Grishoalbrand deck can't go off through their graveyard, and they have to go off through their main deck, off through the breach, or actually hardcasting in Grishoalbrand, and that sounds quite a scary way for it to go. But Thoughtseize, Stubborn Denial is also very nice. Stubborn Denial, obviously a blue, counter target non-creature spell unless it plays 1. Obviously if you have Ferocious, which, well, say Shane did in that match, does it for a single mana to counter target spell, and we know that the Grishoalbrand deck goes off through spells, so he can afford to go, I'm going to bring my Stubborn Denial, bring in my Thoughtseize, and bring in the Grafdigger's Cage as well, just to try and cut off the outs that he has. Obviously, some of the other ones, the Spell Skies can redirect some of the damage, but it's still going to cause him pain. But the main ones, I think, is Grafdigger's Cage, the Stubborn Denial, and the Thoughtseize. And then taking out maybe the Master of Ethereum being slightly slower, and some of the other slow cards, maybe also the Etched Champions as well. Cards that just take a little bit longer to get going compared to, say, a Volt Scourge with a Cranial Plating on it. But on the other side of the match, Grishoalbrand, what does he have in his sideboard? What does Charlie have in his sideboard that he can look to bring in, despite only getting stuck on 1 land and not doing anything? He
has 1 copy of Besaju, who shelters it all, 3 Pact of Negation, 1 Thoughtseize, 1 Defense Grid, 2 Shattering Spree, 3 Pyroclasm, 1 Lightning Axe, and 3 Blood Moon. So the cards I like here are quite obvious: 2 Shattering Spree and 3 Pyroclasm.
Yeah, removal like that is good against an Affinity deck of 1/1s and 0/2s.
Exactly. So Shattering Spree is a card from, I believe it was Guild Pact. It used the Izzet mechanic of Replicate, which is, as you can see, red for a sorcery, destroy target artifact. Replicate is red, so you can pay any amount of red mana, and you get to make a copy of it for each time you've paid red mana.
Oh, you can do it more than once?
You can do it more than once.
Oh.
So you can go, I'm going to pay 4 red, and I'm going to blow up 4 of your artifacts. So this Cranial Plating, and this creature, and this creature, and this creature, and please kindly go away, board.
Please. Slight technical hitch back here. Someone walking through the back of the venue managed to accidentally kick out the broadband cable. We are now back live, obviously, from the from the on the stream here from Darkster in London. John Parcher, Shay Holland, can you commentate? And we are still in game 2. We haven't gone much further than that. We saw turn 1, Faithless Looting pitching Grishoalbrand, and then we saw Affinity playing into Etch Champion into a Cranial Plating. So quite a quick one. Quite
yeah,
a quick draw
this is quite a lot of damage that Charlie's going to be taking next turn. 2 from the Etch Champion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, from the Cranial Plating.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a 8 damage swing. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we see another Etch Champion. Obviously, this is the uninteractive part. We see Pyroclasm. It's not going to do a lot. We see another Springleaf Drum, and we see in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9, 10.
11, 12. What's the damage? Down to 9, and we see.
No, not 10, because this just came into play.
Yeah. So we do have a Nourishing Shoal with a Wellspine Worm in play, so it gives him another turn at least. He has more life he can do. Obviously, the problem that Charlie has. There's a Stubborn Denial in Shane's hand.
Wow. So
and we all know that Stubborn Denial quite good when you can just counter one spell.
Yep. And it's going to be a good spell that he's countering. You know, the you're not allowed to gain 11 life this turn spell is pretty good, as it turns out. So
we see Scryland here. He has to carry on playing. Obviously, you don't want to just run it off from there. So.
So I think he just needs to fire this off now.
Yeah,
oh, no, chooses not to. Interesting.
It's one of those things. If his opponent has a counter spell, he has a counter spell, and we can see the blue card there at the front of Shane's hand. He's holding his hand, the cards very close to his chest in this one. He obviously doesn't want us to know either. Slight technical hitch back here. Someone walking through the back of the venue managed to accidentally kick out the broadband cable. We are now back live, obviously from the on the stream here from Darkster in London. John Parcher, Shay Holland, can you commentate? And we are still in game 2. We haven't gone much further than that. We saw turn 1, Faithless Looting pitching Grishoalbrand, and then we saw Affinity playing into Etch Champion into a Cranial Plating. So quite a quick one.
Yeah, this is quite a lot of damage that Charlie's going to be taking next turn. 2 from the Etch Champion, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe, from the Cranial Plating.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's a 8 damage swing. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, and this is one of the things we see another Etch Champion. Obviously, this is the uninteractive part. We see Pyroclasm. It's not going to do a lot. We see another Springleaf Drum, and we see in for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
9, 10.
11, 12. What's the damage? Down to 9, and we see.
No, not 10, because this just came into play.
Yeah. So we do have a Nourishing Shoal with a Wellspine Worm in play, so it gives him another turn at least. He has more life he can do. Obviously, the problem that Charlie has. There's a Stubborn Denial in Shane's hand.
Wow. So
we all know that Stubborn Denial quite good when you can just counter one spell.
Yep. And it's going to be a good spell that he's countering. You know, the you're not allowed to gain 11 life this turn spell is pretty good, as it turns out. So
we see Scryland here. He has to carry on playing. Obviously, you don't want to just run it off from there. So.
So I think he just needs to fire this off now.
Yeah,
oh, no, chooses not to. Interesting.
It's one of those things. If his opponent has a counter spell, he has a counter spell, and we can see the blue card there at the front of Shane's hand. He's holding his hand, the cards very close to his chest in this one. He obviously doesn't want us to know either. And obviously, we apologise. Someone accidentally kicked a cable. And one of the things with internet is we're bound by our technological impediments of cabling still.
Yep. Unfortunately, with 104 people, it can be a little bit cramped at times.
Yeah, it can be a little bit
people
cramped.
People walking around and you know,
Stubborn Denial with Ferocious as well.
Ferocious, yep.
And
that's going to be game.
Unfortunately, we can see some unfortunate things. There we go. Extension
There you
of
go,
the
yeah.
hand, and we see another ex-champion.
Ah.
Oh, Corey Vengeance on top as well. So
Shane with the, but I have another ex-champion, and Charlie like, well,
I
you
won.
were probably dead
Dead.
next turn
Oh.
if I had another turn, but unfortunately not. So
that was quick.
That was very quick.
That was very quick, and obviously that can be the problem with the Grishoalbrand deck. Sometimes it literally doesn't do anything. So players will sign a slip. We will bring it back to the studio booth. A very quick match. Obviously, welcome back to the studio booth. Jump out to Shea Holland. Round 2 feature match done.
Yes.
A lot faster than we thought. We normally have the clock just to the left of us. Unfortunately, not quite able to tell exactly how much time we got left on the round, but
not much. Would be my guess.
It's a quick match.
Yeah, we're just going to go double check to see if we have another feature match
area
going on.
We'll have to wait and see for that one. But aside from that, what we will be doing is do another deck tech. Obviously, we'll wait to see if there's a feature match area. If not, we'll do a deck tech. Now, what do we fancy doing this time?
So we saw Junk earlier.
Yep.
We talked a lot about Junk. We talked quite a bit about Jund. Why don't we look at the deck that Jund and Junk were not designed to beat, but were one of its most favourable matchups. Let's look at casting 4 mana enchantments in Modern and hoping that it's enough to win the game. Everyone's favourite card.
Well, we'll go down there in a minute, but I've got to type it all in first. But
shall I do the typing?
You do the typing, and I'll do the talking. Sounds like a better thing. Apparently, that's not the right one because that was not a Splinter.
No,
we are talking about Splinter Twin.
It did come up with Splinter Twin.
It did come out with the right one. Obviously, we're talking about Splinter Twin. 2 reds, enchantment, enchant creature, tap, put a copy into play of that creature, put it on a Deceiver Exarch or a Pestamite, make as many copies as you want. Sometimes you don't want to make an infinite number of copies because your opponent Rakdos charms you into next Tuesday.
If Tom Moore and Stuart Wright go into game 3,
well, ladies and gentlemen, we've just
been
fortunate
told.
enough we might have another one.
Yes, we might be able to have another one. So let's talk about the main card, Splinter Twin. So, as you said, Deceiver Exarch and Pestamite are 2 of the cards that you want to be putting your Splinter Twin on. There is different versions of this deck that run green for Tarmogoyf. They also run Thragtusk.
So this is obviously effectively what we refer to as Teamer or Rug Twin, or Tarmo Twin, as Patrick Dickman obviously did at the big event with that.
Do you know what's really funny about putting a Splinter Twin on a Thragtusk?
You make many copies of Thragtusk, and you get 3/3 at the end of it.
You make 1 copy of Thragtusk.
Oh, you make 1 copy of Thragtusk.
Comes in and you gain 5 life.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like this already.
In the end step, you sacrifice the token. And
okay, so you get rid of your 5/3.
And you get a 3/3.
Yeah.
And that guy stays. The 3/3 stays.
Is it like introduced you to Value Central?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
I've actually seen someone at a GP go off. Not go off. They got to sit there and go. I'm going to tap my Thragtusk and I'm going to make a Thragtusk. I'm going to go up to 25 life.
And it's one of the safer things to put it on, rather than it's one of the safer things, especially if your opponent's playing Rock, for example, where they can go Abrupt Decay your man. Well, you can't Abrupt Decay a Thragtusk because it's 5 mana spell. Obviously, the 2 you can do is Pestamite and Deceiver Exarch. Pestamite is a flash flyer, and the Deceiver Exarch is just flash 1/4. The Deceiver Exarch has a lot more resilience against most of the threat. It can't be lightning bolted, which is the important one because it's 4 toughness. Obviously, Pestamite has flying as well, which can always. Sometimes Splinter Twin players have to go on the fair beatdown plan. You don't always have the Splinter Twin, and 2 power is twice the clock as a 1/4. One of the other crucial things is it's a blue deck. Now we're going to show the main counter spell in the deck, and there's 2 of them that it plays. One of them it plays more copies of than the other one, and that is, if I can get this into work, Remand.
Yep.
So if you wanna talk the viewers through Remand and why it is, well, on the surface doesn't read very well, but why actually the card is very, very powerful.
So it was I believe it was originally printed in original Ravnica City of Guilds. 1 blue instant, counter target spell. If it's countered this way, return it to its owner's hand, draw a card. when you're casting this on turn 7, that, sure, you've stopped them playing their Tarmogoyf for all of 10 seconds. They return it to their hand and then replay it. Whereas when you play that on turn 2, and they've played their Tarmogoyf on turn 2, and you've left up your Remand mana and you remand their Tarmogoyf, you've effectively gained an extra turn, because all they've done is draw a card and play a land and pass the turn. And then you've gone all of a sudden from turn 2 to turn 3. They've not done anything. They've not advanced at all. Whereas you have. You've been able to untap on 3 mana.
Yeah.
Which
and
is...
That's the power, and that's the really good thing about it. And it's... Remand also works very well against flashback as well.
Yep. If you remand a flashback spell, the card is exiled because of the templating of flashback. It's a replacement effect, and the flashback replacement effect overrides the remand's replacement effect. I'm not a judge, so I can't go into more judgy information than that. That's how I know it works. That's all I need to know how it works.
And remand also, it's a nice tempo play, because sometimes you can put yourself in a position where it goes one thing. Obviously, the other part of the Splinter to inject.
The counter.
The other one. There's 2 main ones. The other one being Cryptic Command. 1 blue, blue, blue. 1 triple blue. This is probably my favourite counter spell.
Yep.
Maybe more than Force of Will, because I'm only just getting into. I'm only getting into Legacy just now. I'm only just getting into Legacy. Force of Will, obviously, reserved for that format only.
I'm pretty sure you would, against a combo deck, you'd rather have the Force of Will.
Yes, you would.
Than the Cryptic Command.
Yes, you would. But Cryptic Command. Choose 2. Counter target spell. Return target permanent to its owner's hand, and it is permanent. Also, tap all creatures your opponents control and draw a card. Now, as a Scapeshift player, as like nothing more than the modes of counter spell, draw a card, or tap your team, draw a card. Any of these are good for me. They're all very powerful. You do use the return target permanents to his hand. I have managed to win some games against Amulet Blue Miles behind when you use Cryptic Command your land. You'll go, sir, and you can't now pay for your pact anymore. It's one of the ways that the Scapeship can win. It's a reasonably hard matchup normally. So, one of the things as well, the tap all creature opponent control, and this is why Ototice Command is probably not going to be necessarily played in Modern, is because you just have a better version of the card.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the other ones, such as Colligan's Command, Atarka's Command, and Dramo's Command, they don't really have a similar spell in Modern, so that they can find their way into the niche. Obviously, Cryptic Command. The triple blue, actually very interestingly, looks very hard to cast, but then you realise that you're playing with Ravnica dual lands, and getting triple blue on turn 4 or turn 3, depending on which deck you are, is actually not as difficult as it might look. The main thing as well is also, you're playing a normally blue-red straight.
Yep.
But with that, the main thing you can have Lightning Bolt.
Yep.
Which is obviously really powerful. Okay. Yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah. So, with the Lightning Bolt, you can also then use Serum Visions, which is a way of drawing through your deck, and then Snapcaster Mage, one of the really important parts of the deck. There was flashback your spells. It's still in the place of Jace Vryn's Prodigy, because obviously flashback all your counter spells. Then obviously the different variations we have: Tasiga, Colligan's Command,
yep,
Tarmogoyf your Viewing Green, and they're the different variations, and they're the main cards you're looking to play. So we'll bring it back to the studio, but if we have been informed, we didn't want to rush through that one. I was actually quite enjoying going through that one, because I like my blue decks in Modern. We've been informed by the TO, dear Alexi here, that we actually do have another feature match. Tom Law and his opponent, they did actually manage to go to Game 3, so we're just going to get the things changed on the stream. We'll send it down to the feature match area, and we will see game number 3 of another feature match, which is good for us.
Yep.
And I believe one of them's on Jund, with a bit of variation, I believe. I don't believe he's got Dark Confidant in his Jund deck. From what I heard earlier, Tom Law.
Right.
I believe, and whether it's true or not, because he believes that Dark Confidant is not very good in a field of burn. He has a certain Ravnica card. He might be playing many.
Might not be wrong.
He might not be wrong. He might not be wrong, but I believe, and I might be proven wrong when we're on stream, he's playing Pack Rat instead of Dark Confidant. Don't know if it's true. He did tell me earlier, whether he was lying or not is a different matter.
That would be hilarious.
It would certainly be different. I'm not going to lie, but we will double check where we are with players. We are... Oh, I can understand why we are now in Game 3 and why this one has taken a while. On one side, we have Tom Law on Jund, and on the other side, We have Stuart Wright on junk. So both players 1-0, currently 1-1 in games. It's a green-black mirror, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds good to me.
Prepare your seats. Prepare
We'll
your
be here
drinks.
for a while.
Prepare your popcorn. Prepare your whatever snack, drink, whatever you want. It's going to take a while.
We could be here for a while.
Well, it might do. We don't know. If he's running pack rat, it might not actually take that long.
The main thing with these decks is they're built around a similar base. They're built around Tarmogoyf, discard spells, Liliana, Abrupt Decay, but the red gives you Terminate and gives you Colligan's Command and Olivia Voldaren and also Lightning Bolt. The white, on the other hand, gives you Path to Exile, Siege Rhino, and Lingering Souls. And Lingering Souls, I will tell you, is a good card in this match.
Almost
2-for-1s are very good, and especially when you can put 4 of them into play. And especially with playing green-white, you always get the other benefit of playing green-white is you get to play your Gavany Township, which is obviously 2 green whites, tap, put a +1/+1 count on all creatures you control. It's all creatures. So imagine all your spawn 1 spirit tokens with more things on them.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting. That I think that's the trump card in this match.
Yeah,
for sure.
Gavany Township, making your ghosts bigger, making your Tarmogoyfs bigger, making your just all creatures bigger, versus the Jund cheap removal in the form of
Terminate, Abrupt Decay, Lightning Bolt.
The case. Also, interestingly, Terminate is arguably better than something like Path, because Path to Exile, gives the opponent land. There we see Fulminator Mage in Tom's hand, which is
good.
Very good in this
blow the
matchup,
lands up.
actually.
Trying to get ahead on land drops. Sometimes they don't have enough. We see the front card. Golgari Charm.
Very good against Lingering Souls.
And it's why a lot of the decks, also the junk decks, run Zealous Persecution. Just the ability to go -1/-1 to all creature control. Obviously very good against all your copies of Lingering Souls, but this one has a few more modes. Destroy target enchantment or regenerate each creature you control. The main one, obviously, in this matchup. The main benefit of being all creatures get -1/-1 counters.
Yeah.
It's good in combat as well.
It is.
Because sometimes you can, especially with a Scavenging Ooze in play, you can do -1/-1 to all my team and kill your spirit tokens, and then obviously you can start to eat things up as well. There's less bobs nowadays, so you can't do the Scavenging Ooze, do your board in and eat your bob out in the graveyard and just start growing from there. But we see Scavenging Ooze as a follow-up, so a nice quick start here from Stuart. We see Lightning Bolt. This is the power of a Lightning Bolt as well. We see Overgrown Tomb into play tapped. There's a Liliana in hand, but no land, and we could now see this. We could now see Tom just go, right, I'm going to cash in this Fulminator Mage now.
The Fulminator Mage was discarded.
Oh, it was discarded, sorry. So he's going to play this. Let's get my Liliana into play. Or he can play it as Scavenging Ooze of his own, and Scavenging Ooze for Tom is better than a Scavenging Ooze for Stuart at this point, because Tom has Lightning Bolts, whereas Stuart has Pass.
I think Tom wants to play the Scavenging Ooze here, because Stuart has more cards in hand. Lingering Souls is also a card in Stuart's hand,
which could be discarded to Liliana.
Which can be discarded to Liliana. I don't think Tom's made Liliana. It would be interesting to see if he actually goes up here. I've been doing some testing. And he's decided that he wants to get rid of this Lightning Bolt. He decided it's probably not that good.
So we're going to see a Siege Rhino. So no Lingering Souls in hand.
No Lingering Souls.
But we're going to see Abrupt Decay in the end step. So it's just trying to get. We see another Liliana off the top, but we do see Tasiga, which. A 4/5, normally for 6 mana.
It's Tarmogoyf, right?
It's Tarmogoyf for 2, and it is a Tarmogoyf at this point.
At this point, it usually is Tarmogoyf in most matchups. In Modern and Legacy, it's sort of your additional Tarmogoyfs. You're only allowed 4, so instead we'll give you Tasiga, who's most of the time a Tarmogoyf that you can play, and you're allowed this guy. So.
We see a Tarmogoyf on the side. And Tasiga, obviously being delved away from the graveyard, able to drop his bonus stuff. We see another Abrupt Decay for Stuart, but he's still struggling to hit these land drops.
He's missed that 3rd land drop again, but he's applying the pressure here.
Lane Line of the Void, Hospital in hand, and maybe this is where Tom should have led off with the Scavenging Ooze. Which means that the Tasiga wouldn't have been a problem, because he can just go, no, I'm gonna Liliana your Tasiga now. Admittedly, it probably gets Abrupt Decayed again, but there's no Tasiga in play, and Stuart struggling on lands. He drew yet another non-land permanent, and let's see if Tom so we see a Tasiga of his own. But there is a Path to Exile in Stuart's hand. so we see in with Scavenging Ooze, we're going to see him eat the Tarmogoyf, gain a life, and start the race. So in for 3, and we're now going to see a follow-up with a Tasigur of his own, and starting to get a little bit more pressure on the board now. Tom Law. Path to turn back, we see double Liliana, Siege Rhino, Path to Exile in hand. We're going to see the path go after the Tasigur. Tom will be happy to get another land out. It's get another green land. Again, it's able to eat more creatures even though there aren't any in the bin. From there. Yeah, so we see the forest interplay. And we see an untapped of the Tasigur. And we see a land come, but this time it is a tapped land in the form of the treetop village. But Liliana still can't be cast, but we're making our way towards Siege Rhino territory, and we see the Scavenging Ooze versus Tasigur. Scavenging Ooze probably going to lose that one, but we finally found a third land. It's not black though, so those Lilianas are still going to be sitting in hand. We see another Scavenging Ooze, but in for 3. This clock's now bigger than Stuart's one. And we might see the follow-up Scavenging Ooze as well. See 1 and 2. Scavenging Ooze, this gives a bit more protection against Liliana now. It means that the Scavenging Ooze get bigger. We see a draw, we see a Scavenging Ooze of his own. No, nothing in the graveyard at the moment.
No.
Everything's a bit small. And obviously then the Scavenging Ooze race begins. But we see the Golgari Charm could be interesting here. He's holding on to that one for dear life. He doesn't want to let these Lingering Souls resolve. But also Scavenging Ooze's ability to exile the Lingering Souls from the graveyard.
Before we flashback, yes.
So we can get his 1-for-1 on the first Lingering Souls and then exile the other half of it with the Scavenging Ooze. Now we know at the moment Stuart's hand is Liliana, Siege Rhino. Stuart's had some land problems in this game.
I think he just drew a dot confident.
Yeah. So
but he
it's a Scavenging Ooze. He has a Scavenging Ooze.
Oh, it's Scavenging Ooze. He doesn't have double black.
But he could start firing up the treetop village, which I don't dislike either.
So we're going to have dueling Scavenging Oozes.
So now we're just going to see him probably eat one of the spells. He doesn't want Tasigur getting any value as and when Stuart is able to start activating the Tasigur. So we see the untapped Tasigur. He's put the he's pumped the brakes with the Tasigur as well. So what do we see? What have you drawn? So it's another land. So Tom getting a little bit flooded now, but the problem now, he's got a Ley Line of the Void. He has a Golgari Charm.
A Ley Line isn't amazing,
but it might not be bad.
But it might not be bad right now because, obviously not this turn, but soon, it will start turning off this Tasigur.
A third Liliana off the top of Stuart, and still can't cast them. But
he can't really cast anything in his hands.
But I don't mind firing up the treetop village and attacking there because he's not. I'm not really sure what he's holding up at the moment. If he had an Abrupt Decay, it would have been used already. We see Fulminator Mage as well.
Wow.
That could be really powerful now. It means that he can go after the black land as well, take him completely off black mana.
Yeah.
I really like that here. We see the Fulminator Mage, and you can also then do the old have a battle over Scavenging Oozes. Oh, it's interesting. That's really interesting that he's gone after the green-white. I
think he's not worried about Liliana.
Okay.
So obviously, Stuart is going to win the green battle.
So he's just going to say sure.
Yeah.
I think Tom just says go. So he's going to float the mana because Tom knows he's going to lose that battle. So he's going no. You can go with that obviously. So we see the draw step. We see Verdant Catacombs. So now the Liliana is live.
But unfortunately, it's only going to get one guy.
Yeah. But this could have been the point where taking the black mana away
would have mattered.
Would have mattered because it means that Stuart can't then cast these Lilianas. He has to draw 2 straight lands to get there.
Yeah, I think you almost certainly want to be getting rid of the double black. The white isn't as much of an issue, and I mean, if you're Stuart here, I think you're in quite a commanding position. I think you want to be going for. I think he should have gone for a Godless Shrine. Now the reason I like Godless Shrine is then it allows him to have both black and white and green should he ever draw a 4th land for his Siege Rhino. Because right now he doesn't have that. Just doesn't have that. And he really needs the 4th land.
Yeah, and Tom unfortunately has a couple of quite dead cards in his hand. We see another land, and because unfortunately Tom doesn't have any of his Raging Ravines or his Treetop Villages, so he can't actually start attacking himself either, which is a little bit painful at the moment. So Tom unfortunately starting to flood out a little bit. So obviously the many copies of Liliana aren't going to make much of a difference, and maybe Tom's maybe ruining his decision not to
get rid of that.
Get rid of the double black. Because now obviously Stuart's able to unlock most of his deck. Obviously he still can't cast the Sea Toronto, but by Tom blowing up the white land, it allows him to cast his double black spells. And I think at that point you actually go, no, my opponent definitely has Liliana's in hand, or expensive spells, because Abrupt Decay would have been cast, Path to Exile would have been cast. All these spells that you can list off here would have been cast on the spells on the mana that Stuart had, whereas you couldn't cast Liliana's or Sea Torontos. But no.
Interesting. So Stu electing to actually just there's
another Liliana. So he's gonna go for another exile effect. Ooh, that's good. And he's making the most of these multiple Lilianas.
Tom's now on 3.
And he needs a very good draw. I'm not sure.
Don't think there's anything. That's
another land. He's going to extend the hand. Tom Law goes down 2-1 to Stuart Wright.
Yeah. So.
Unfortunate draw there for Tom. He took an unfortunate mulligan. Drew a couple of bad
it was
cards.
a interesting play that he decided to go for the Fulminator Mage on the Temple Garden, but unfortunately he did. So we will bring it back to the booth briefly. We have a special guest.
We have a special guest.
We have a special guest for.
So we've been given a piece of paper here, so doing it. We have a Wizards player, happy for interview at end of this round.
A Wizards employee.
Even better.
Yes.
They have joined us. We'll come back to the booth by John Partridge, Shay Holland. We're going to be joined by, and we'll have to ask your name on this one, sir.
Fine. I'm Sam.
You're Sam. I'm John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Shay.
Nice to meet you.
Would you like to stay around here? You might as well. I will hand you my headset. And so, ladies and gentlemen, Sam, Wizard employee. So, if you want to, I'll give you my headset.
Yeah.
If you want to take my seat,
sure.
Shay will do this one with you. And then if you want to have a quick tell people what you do, and we'll go from there.
Hello then, Jay.
Hi. So, tell me what you do.
So my role is as the WPN store lead. So that's the Wizards Play Network.
Yep.
So that's all the stores around the world that sell Magic and build a community and put on things like Friday Night Magic, do things like the regional PTQ that we're doing here. So all of the events that ever get put on in store, really, as part of the Magic scene. All come through us at Wizards, and we sort all that at our end.
Excellent. So, how are you doing today?
Yeah, quite good. It's really good to see so many people. So there's over 100 people here, which is great. It's exactly what we want to see. Because the main thing that we always want to push is we want Magic to be a community, and being able to see so many players coming together and enjoying themselves today is just great. Personally, I've not played any games yet, which is very sad. I have my Commander decks with me, including a very cheeky surprise deck that some people may not have seen the Commander yet.
Right.
What's this? It's one of the Commander 2015 Commanders.
Yes.
So I have my Daxos the Return deck with me.
Ooh, Daxos. I like that guy.
He's really good.
Yeah, he looks really strong.
He's just sweet. It's not a broken combo deck or anything. It's just really nice value all the way down.
Nice.
So it's really good fun.
So have you been sort of playing around with the new Commander decks?
Yeah, in the office we've been playing all the pre-constructeds. They're all bonkers.
Yeah, I really like the new Azuri.
Yes, Azuri is
so
insane. Just one of my colleagues has been horrible and put some infect cards in it.
Very bad man.
Yeah. But yeah, Azuri's bonkers. Meren, the black-green.
Yes. Oh wow.
She is
I'm actually
super
would
busted.
not be surprised if that's all legacy play. It's
close, I think.
It is. I think if it was 3 mana, it would definitely see
definitely,
legacy play. At 4, it might just be a bit
pushing
too much.
it. Yeah.
But the Nick Fit deck, I guess, could play it.
Yeah, it's close. If it was a 3 mana 2/3 or something, I think it would, as you say, definitely see play.
So, have you had any looks at Oath, the Gatekeeper? Are you allowed to talk about that at all? Sorry, Oath of the Gatewatch.
So I have seen some stuff.
Yep.
I can't talk about
obviously
much of what I've seen, apart from it's gonna be amazing.
Better than battle.
It's
hopefully.
going to have a wider impact
Right.
than Battle.
Okay.
So I know a lot of people have
Sure.
been discussing that Battle hasn't necessarily affected much, so looking at stats from top 8s and stuff
Yeah.
at the start of the season particularly, there weren't many Battle cards cropping up in decks. I think people will...
We'll see some more battle cards.
Maybe.
Excellent.
Just... Yeah.
And there was quite recently Shadows over Innistrad.
Oh, spoopy Halloween
Yes.
spoiler.
Oh, Innistrad was one of my favourite sets.
Yeah.
It's something about, you've got your normal humans fighting against vampires and werewolves and your zombies and spirits and all of this. It's so interesting. Shadows over Innistrad, the reveal trailer, the teaser trailer. I mean, obviously, I'm not sure how much you've seen of it, and obviously you're not allowed to talk about it, but to me it looks like there's going to be some sort of demonic angel possession.
Okay.
I mean, hoping that's...
Nice theory. Cool.
Yeah, it's hoping that's going to be something. That for me, that sounds really interesting. Obviously, I know you're not allowed to say
Fun
anything
theory,
yet.
yeah.
So...
Looks into distance.
So, do you get to look at sort of obviously the new cards that are being printed, or?
So different people in the office get to see different things
Right.
at different times. Particularly as well, if some people make trips to the US
Yep.
office, they may get to see more stuff of different things. So, obviously, can't say what I have seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shadows is going to be.
Good. It
yeah.
looks good.
And I mean, I don't know if you know on Mark Rosewater's social media, he did a poll recently of planes that people wanted to return to most.
Innistrad.
Innistrad far and away was
Definitely.
the number one.
Yeah, it's one of those planes that everyone has looked forward to and hoped that we could go back. There's so much lore within Innistrad that's so deep and so good, so enthralling.
It's just the visceral gothic
Exactly.
horror.
It is,
I think
and
that's
what
love.
appeals to people.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been working for Wizards?
So I'm only a couple of months in. I'm a fairly new recruit.
Enjoying it?
No, it's terrible, and
Right.
you shouldn't work for
No,
Wizards
no one
at
should
all.
work
No,
there.
no,
Sure,
no. There should be no more jobs at Wizards. No. No, it's great. It's absolutely brilliant. The team is just such tightly knit, and you can really tell that it is a global company as well.
Yeah.
Because just we're working together around the clock, literally, with time zones and everything. And people are flying off to different offices around the world, and it's really good and interconnected.
And, I mean, hopefully I'm not offending you, but your job isn't just playing Magic all day, is it?
I hope not. No, so most of the day I'm working to make sure that all the Friday Night Magics, Grand Prix trials, PPTQs, etc. Are running smoothly, helping any stores that need help with putting events on, getting new stores to join the WPN. But every lunchtime we do play Magic. And then Friday afternoons is games afternoon as well.
Excellent.
So we do have a lot of fun.
Do you play things other than Magic?
We do. We're not just
Magic.
Not just Magic. So we play a lot of board games and stuff as well. Because it's nice because we get to go to a lot of games meetings because it's part of Hasbro, the big toy company. We get to chat with the games designers there and play games there. Like we've got a sort of club where we can go and test games for Hasbro.
That sounds really good.
So it's not just about the Magic.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So would you recommend?
No, because it's my job.
Obviously not your job. A career elsewhere in Wizards.
Yes, certainly. The company's brilliant to work for, and as I say, just the team spirit within the company is just absolutely fantastic. I can't rate it high enough.
Excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully someone will join you later for some Commander games.
Yeah, come at me.
We'll put a memo out to let everyone know. If anyone's in London and would like to play some Commander games, Sam is here all day.
Fair. I'm here all day and just stood here.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure
Cheers.
interviewing you, and we will hopefully look forward to Oath of the Gatewatch.
Yes. big announcements will be coming fairly soon.
Excellent. There you go. Heard
Cheers.
it here first.
So unfortunately, due to copyright, we can't ask him any more questions. Alexi has already told us we aren't allowed to put any.
We're not allowed to pressure him.
We're not allowed to pressure the
other
Wizards employee to ask him for more information on Oath and stuff. But interesting interview then, the gentlemen. So if you have any questions on chat, we will do our best to try and get them across to Sam. And if we can, we can't. It's one of those things. But a few interesting decks we've seen so far. Grishoalbrand obviously is still a deck in the format. Amulet Bloom, very big deck in the room. A very deck in the format. There's a couple of players who were all 1-0 with Amulet Bloom when I walked out there. I went and had a quick flick around the room, see what was going on. There's a few Splinter Twin decks doing well at the top. You've always got your junk decks. There's one Tron deck who was doing well, but he seemed to be struggling slightly against Splinter Twin. Splinter Twin in hand already with Dispel backup. But yeah, but the thing is, it can still Rending Volley. He's had 2 Grove of the Burn, while his Rending Volley is still a card against Splinter Twin.
I quite like that matchup. Game 1, it's very, very difficult for Tron.
Okay.
Very difficult. Game 2 and 3, they brought into this interesting matchup where, you know, Tron gets, obviously, Nature's Claim, because Blood Moon is a thing.
Yep, as is Splinter Twin.
And Splinter Twin. They get Rending Volley, which is, you know, a new card from Dragons of Tarkir. Red, instant, can't be countered by spells or abilities.
Opponent controls.
I think it's just at all. And deal 4 damage to target blue or white creature. So there was an old card before called Combust. It's quite similar, but it dealt 5 damage at the cost of 2 mana.
And
Turns out,
damage couldn't be prevented.
It
added an extra bit of text.
Just in case.
I've never found a situation where that's actually relevant.
No, me neither.
But that's by the by. Some people still prefer Combust because it does 5 damage. And depending on the popularity of Siege Rhino, that can sometimes be important. But generally, 4 damage is plenty enough in most situations for that sort of spell.
And the card that the deck that it's wanted against, the 5 damage is perfect. The 4 damage is perfect because it kills Deceiver Exarch and it kills Pestamite, and that's all you care about. And
for a very low cost of 1 red. And it can't be countered, which is also the crucial wording on there as well.
You also get some decks get Spell Skates.
Yep.
Which are very good against Splinter Twin.
Yes. Although very good again. One of the other things also with Splinter, I'm assuming you're going to just discuss the interaction between Spell Sky and Rending Volley, or lack of interaction between those 2 cards.
So yeah, if the twin opponent tries to combo off with a Spell Sky in play, you can't actually redirect the Rending Volley because Spell Sky is not a legal target for Rending Volley. So what happens is you play your Splinter Twin on your Deceiver Exarch and go, I'm going to combo off, and your opponent goes, no, I'm going to stop you, and I'm going to Rending Volley your Deceiver Exarch, and you're going to go, okay, I'm going to pay 2 life, and I'm going to redirect it to Spell Sky. And your opponent goes, okay,
take 2.
You taken 2,
and you guys dead.
And your Deceiver Exarch is still dead, and you lose your Splinter Twin. And if you're at home going, but why? Because it's not a legal target, doesn't mean that you can't activate Spell Sky's ability. In fact, Spell Sky is really badly worded in that you can activate it off any ability or anything at all.
Any ability or spell.
Ability or spell. Crack a fetch. Okay, I'll pay 2 life and I'll redirect it to Spell Sky. And it's one of the ways that
redirect, equip triggers.
You can everything, and it's quite funny when your opponent mind slavers. So if you're playing Tron and your opponent runs out of Spell Sky, you're dead. No matter what, you're dead. So there you go. That's why. Also, because Tron gets Spell Sky, it's quite nice because they can play their Spell Sky and they can redirect the twin actually to Spell Sky.
And the crucial thing is, when you cast spells, always read if there's any specific text, such as it can only target 2 types of things, or say for example something like Shriekmaw or Go for the Throat. They've got specific says that they can't target certain things. So I believe Go for the Throat is destroy target non-artifact, so you can't redirect Go to the Throat to Spell Sky because it's an artifact. It's not a legal target. So it will always kill the thing. Very powerful spells, and this is modern. You're going to have it all. Rending Volley might seem like a niche card, but the card is still really, really powerful. There are a lot of root tables out there. A lot of burn. couple of Scape Shift players. They always turn up. We always congregate a room somewhere, bringing people to light now as well.
There's dozens of you in the world.
There's more of us than you think. We go into hiding during the non-modern season. We don't want people to know.
You just play good decks when most of the time. You just sometimes want to play Scape Shift.
Scape Shift is a very good deck. It's very powerful. Bring to Light, very good card in it. 26 lands. Add in my extra mountain. Get you, nice Tron player. But a lot of Jund, a lot of the rock decks, the green-black X decks, so Jund and Junk. There's some number of Splinter Twin. There always will be Splinter Twin, very good deck. Some of the Splinter Twin players not doing so well in the room. I know that David Inglis on Twin, I believe it's 0-2 at the moment. A couple of the Twin players, 1-0 might be going to 1-1 depending on how the match plays out. But a lot of the rock decks, good number of Amulet Bloom decks. The deck seems to just be popular and just appear out the woodworks even when you're not expecting it. We will get a breakdown of decks at some point today, and we will of course upload them and present to people when we know what those are. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back very shortly for round 3 coverage of the regional Pro Tour qualifier. So hopefully you'll join us back then. I'm looking forward to it. We're 2 rounds in, and it's been some very interesting decks. A very hallmark of modern. Lots of different decks, lots of variety, and also some really broken decks.
Yeah. Turns out that turn 2 combo decks are still legal.
Yes, very inconsistent sometimes.
Yep.
But they still exist.
Yep.
But we'll be back very shortly. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you'll join us for round 3 coverage here. John Partridge, Holland, and we shall look forward for you to joining us for round 3 of coverage here from the Regional Pro Tour Qualifier Dark Sphere in London.